Hello, everyone, and welcome to SEMA 2025. Here on the collision and refinish stage, I have Dito Diaz with me with Goliath Carts, and the presentation today is Lean Thinking, Real Innovation, and Proven Results. Dito, you want to give a quick introduction and tell us what you're going to be covering today?
Thank you, Jason. My name is Dito Diaz, the president of Goliath Carts. We're been around since about 2010. We're a manufacturing business, as well as we sell all of our products into the collision industry. And today we're going to talk about just a handful of the things that we have. And so let's jump right in, if that's okay.
So you got the powered mobile workstations here. Tell us a little bit about that. What are those? How is it powered, and how is that helpful?
Oh, great. So these carts have full inverters, chargers, all the wiring, all the fuses, kill switches, everything to give you full power with these carts as you walk through the facility. So what you'll see them used for is things like estimating, blueprinting, production, and the goal is really to eliminate all of the wasted movement that you have in a shop. So you take it's a desk on wheels that you take right out to the car, you write the estimate, and you're not wasting time going back and forth to printers, back and forth to your office where you eventually get taken away from what you're doing by someone else and just end up wasting a lot of time and space.
Yeah, I have everything right there, so yeah, that makes sense. You don't have to keep going back and forth. Perfect.
Yeah, and this year we have a couple of new ones that are in our booth that are also along the same lines as here. So on this PowerPoint slide, we have a cart with a single screen, a cart with 2 screens, and in the middle there is a cart with actually 4 screens. And the one that you see on the back, it's great because you can pull up to a blueprinting area. Your technician is on the other side of the cart, working on the vehicle, doing the teardown, and your estimator is on the front side, and they're working together. So whatever you put on, let's say, the top left screen there in that middle cart, you can see on the very large 55, 60 inch on the back. So the technician's looking at you, right? So now you're tearing down the car, and he'll say, okay, can you go into the bumper section? Yes. Can you blow that area up? Yes. Can I take parts 1, 3, 5, and 7? Great. All right, let's move on to the reinforcement, and et cetera. And you're doing this dialogue with your teardown technician. It makes it extremely efficient.
Perfect. So I see you got some new destructive weld test solutions. Now I know you did a presentation on some of this last year. Has there been changes since then, or is it basically the same? Can you go over what may have changed?
Yeah, and that's exactly why I added this, because when we came up last year, we had the single solution, the one we see in the middle there, and that could be bolted onto the ground. That could be, the top section could be bench mounted, and then we had a little stand. So what we were asked for is, can we also do the destructive testing on there? So we produced the cart on the right, which comes with the vise, it comes with a peel tool, it comes with a twist tool. We even throw in some things to measure gauge thickness, and the point is that now you can, as a technician, you can document the process. You can either video it. We have whiteboards, but the point is here that we've kind of worked that solution into a full welding and destructive testing solution.
Yeah, and that's so important because most all your OEMs want you to do a destructive weld test, and the easier you make that for somebody to do, more likely are to do it, right?
Of course.
So your Pro Refinish series, I was looking at a lot of this over in your booth over there, and you got some really cool stuff here with the hood stands, the door stands. The amount of mobility that you have with all these stands is great. And the bumper stands, it's always a challenge with bumpers to be able to get around everything as you're refinishing. If you're baking it so that you don't lose your shape of the bumper, things like that. So tell us some of the benefits of your Pro Refinish Series stands here?
Thank you. We wanted to do a couple of things, right? One of them is we wanted to be able to swivel and pivot all of the stands, and that's important to get to all of the sides. And if I'm a painter, that bumper example, I can sit in one place and swivel the bumper around as I'm painting it. And if I need to get to the underside, I can pitch it and then paint the underside. The other thing we wanted to do is we didn't want to have any zip ties or wires. So we've accomplished that with some very simple pressure. So in the example of the bumper or a fender, when you lay them on the stands, you find a couple of points to grab them, and then a little gentle pressure pulls them back against a bar or something that's holding them, and it holds them in place. And in the case of the door and the hood, we went a step further. So we actually attached to the factory bolts on both the door and the hood. And what that allows you to do besides painting is since it's attached very firmly, you can do things like PDR, right? So you can PDR on that stand. You can take it from a prep area where you're doing buffing and sanding and whatnot straight into the paint booth. The casters was another component. We have 6x2 very large casters, so if you have a downdraft paint booth, you're not going to get caught up in any of the grates in those booths. And in general, we wanted to have a stand that was ultra durable, ultra rugged, that we know the parts are not falling off.
Well, and one thing I noticed, not that a painter would ever get a run, but with that hood, you could actually paint the hood with it straight up and down, where you're not getting a lot of dirt in it. And if you happen to see it start to slide down a little bit, you can actually flatten it out. I know we mentioned that yesterday, so that's kind of a neat feature to be able to have it so mobile. Like I said, where you swivel, go one way to the other, get the front and the back at the same time. So I see a lot of benefits with these stands.
Yeah, and another piece too is you want as much unobstructed area when you're painting, right? So you have the front door, then you have the back of the door, and ours are completely unobstructed, including the hood. So we can actually install all the trim pieces and everything right on the stand. They're fantastic stands. No, definitely things that nobody else has put in their stands to date that we know of.
Yeah, I mean they look fantastic.
And we're just going to go through one at a time, just very quickly. But this is we call this our multi-stand. So it has 4 points of contact. And again, with some gentle downward pressure, you can hold the pieces in. You see a fender on there. And you see the rotation of 360 and the 90-degree rotation up to lay the parts flat if you need to. There's the bumper stand, same thing, 360 and 180 rotation. Photo of the bumper. Again, we just use just some gentle pressure to pull the bumper back against the front curved piece. There's the door stand. You can see the hinges, the hinge points, and that expands all the way out to hold all size doors, truck doors, any kind of door fits on that stand, and we have a picture of that as well. And then finally, this is the hood stand. And you can see its rotation for the hood. And again, when you actually put that hood on, one of the things that we found works really, really well is you turn the hood upside down on like a workbench. And then you take the two little pieces that bolt where the hood bolts on, and you actually install those first. Then you take the hood and drop it onto the stand, tighten it down, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And I want to kind of innovate here. The amount of thought that went behind all these, because you were showing me over there, just like with this here, to be able to withstand the weight of some of these hoods, you had to counterweight it, right? So it's not just like you have a stand over here that had no thought put behind it. So with each one of these, there's a thought process to every inch of the build of these stands, including stuff like that, right?
Yeah, the counterweight's a good point, right? So as the hood gets bigger, you can expand. You have to expand it out to be able to hook the latch. And by doing that, you essentially create that space so that when you lift the hood up, the counterweights on the bottom do their work to keep the hood from falling over. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think all of us that have refinished cars for a living have had a tailgate fall or a hood or something. And so, to be able to eliminate that possibility with these stands, I think is very beneficial.
Thank you.
So you got some dollies here. So honestly, I wasn't even aware that you made dollies. So until I saw them in your booth. So tell us what's special about these unidolly car dollies.
The dollies, as you can see, this is a lot going on in this photo. It's a single slide piece, but you see the couple sets of dollies in there. The ones underneath the vehicle, those are our standard 4,800-pound dollies, and they come with flat pad adapters. So you just lift the car up, you slide it underneath, you set it down on the lift points, and you can move the vehicle around very easy. They're iron core casters that are rated at 600 pounds apiece, so that gives us 4,800-pound capacity per side of the vehicle. So we can lift about a 10,000-pound truck without a problem with a set of those dollies. If you want something heavier, if you have something heavier, be it a Freightliner or something you want to move, you can double them up, as you see in that picture there. We put 2 of the red outriggers on each side, giving us a 9,600-pound per side capacity. And then what we have, and some accessories here, these are the important pieces, is we use a quick release method. So there's a cotter pin and a clevis pin underneath each of these, what we call the adapter heads. And they allow you to take it off and easily switch to a frame adapter or pinch weld adapter. And we have a hub adapter. And then we developed out an entire set of OEM-specific adapters that once they're in their little plate and you put them on top, then there's literally just 2 screws that you take out if you want to go from an Audi to a Tesla to a Mercedes to a BMW. You can very easily just undo a couple screws, change out the puck, and what that allowed us to do from a development perspective is when we get new OEMs that come on, all we have to create is the puck. You've already got the entire system. You can come in and say, I just need the new Rivian puck or whichever one we develop, right?
Right, yeah, and that's amazing. I want to make a point here, too. Years ago, car dollies were nice to have. Now they're mandatory because with the emergence of all the hybrids out there, all the EVs, it's the only way you can move them around. You can't push them around like you can a gasoline engine vehicle, right? So where it used to be, nice to have these to move vehicles around, they're an absolute must to have some way, some car dollies or some way to move that electric or hybrid vehicle around. And I like the way that you have it manufacturer specific so that you're not damaging anything. That's a really nice touch, really nice features.
Thank you so much.
So tell us about this. I seen this slide earlier, and I was going to ask you, so Goliath solar for transportation and logistics. So what are we talking about here? What exactly is solar?
There's a lot to unpack here on this slide as well, but this is probably the best slide to talk about, kind of the range of what we can do for solar and why it's important for not only collision centers, but all kinds of folks that have maybe fleet accounts, heavy trucks, all of those things. So as you know, when you have, there's a lot of extra idling time that these vehicles have to do in order to run refrigeration, air conditioning, lift gates, on the heavy truck side. On the collision center, maybe dealership side, you have a lot of lot rot and battery maintenance things that you want to make sure that your vehicles start on time every time. Or you have someone coming in to pick up a car, you want to make sure that it's ready to go. Maybe it's been, been a couple of months in the shop being repaired. And those things obviously happen from time to time. So we make, starting with really small kits that will actually run telematics, cameras, small devices. That's maybe a small 2.5 watt device. That next section, that next category is the 40 to 120 watt. So we have a 55 watt and 110 watt panel that are specifically for battery maintenance and reducing, and making sure that every time you go in there to start it, it starts. That photo was from a project we did for the U.S. Army, right? So in that example, they were spending, you wouldn't believe it, just the 82nd Airborne was spending $10 million a year on batteries.
Wow, that's amazing.
Right, and we did it, and when they would go out there, the vehicles weren't starting because they were sitting for so long, right? They sit there until they're being deployed somewhere, and then they want them to start, and they're not starting. So we have 100% start on these vehicles, and we were able to, where batteries were lasting 3-4 months, now they're lasting 3 or 4 years.
Right, and a lot of people may not realize that in the audience that vehicles have what they call a parasitic draw, right?
Absolutely.
All of them have them, depending on your vehicle, how many options you have, it's going to draw it faster. So some vehicles, depending on the vehicle and what options it has, you may get 2 weeks without it sitting, and it may be dead. You may get a month if you have less options. So that's a great thing to have that would keep that battery charged up. But I think a lot of people learn the hard way. They're not really probably familiar that all vehicles have that parasitic draw. When it's sitting there doing nothing, it's still using a small percentage of the battery.
Yep, gives you that opportunity to go out and check and make sure that you can actually run into problems as well. Once that parasitic draw draws it down to where the vehicle won't start, you can cause some other issues as well.
Yeah, exactly. With computer systems, don't like to be starved of power at any time.
Correct. And then, the next section over, that 120 to 420 watt, that was what we would call our lift gate kits. So on heavy trucks, we can run lift gates. We can charge the motorized pallet jacks that are in the back. We install some extra batteries. Now you have a nice way to turn off the truck when you get to a delivery location and still be able to run the lift gates and stuff off the solar power. And the next piece up, we have a picture of a fairing on a large heavy truck, and that one actually runs the entire hotel load in that vehicle. So when the guy wants to go to sleep at night, he can turn off the vehicle. It'll run his air conditioner, it'll run his microwave, his toaster oven, all those little things that he keeps in his cab back there. And for the fleet owner, what that means is more gas savings, less emissions. Less wear and tear on starters, alternators, all those things that they spend a lot of money on, batteries as well. So for fleet accounts, these type of solutions are looked after and very, very valuable. The ROI on these components is almost instantaneous.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. And another thing on that, contrary to popular belief, it's not good for a diesel engine to be running at idle for long periods of time. So it's actually not good on the engine from what I've been told by many mechanics. So you solved a lot of problems with that. And actually even the emissions going in the air and things like that, there's I can see where this could be very beneficial. And like you say, the ROI is immediate.
Yep. Yep, and then the final one, just to kind of brag a little bit, we've done some projects where we can even run, reefer trucks, run all the HVAC systems on reefer trucks solely through solar and batteries. And this is just, I wanted to have just a photo of just some fun stuff, right? So we've done some projects with solar and emergency response. We can do off-grid containers. We're actually building right now that little piece on the right. It's called a solar cube. It's a solar genset that can be deployed into emergency areas and run power for events, for emergency relief, for anything like that. They can be daisy chained in series to give enormous amounts of power to folks. Think of maybe equipment rental company, right?
Right.
They've got a lot of things that are sitting for a long time. They can literally power up their entire fleet with something like that. So,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
And we hit perfect timing. So
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for coming out and being part of our show, Dito, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much.